Okay, that should be good. So my current channel name is Perennial Iris. That's what you could type in to get to my page, youtube.com/Perennial Iris, like this. I've realized, however, over the last few months that way fewer people than I thought know what the word perennial means. It's actually been quite disappointing how few people are actually familiar with that word. I don't know if, like, just up to a certain point in my life, I had only known people who had seen this before. Maybe it's because it's a term in, like, gardening, right? If your mother or any like anyone in your family gardens, they know what a perennial is, because a perennial is a type of flower that lasts. It means one that, like, comes back. So if you plant it this season, it dies in the winter, but then it just automatically comes back at least once the next. Then we call it a perennial because it means it, like, lasts more than one cycle or whatever. But I frequently tell people my username and they find it hard to spell. They say what? It's Perennial Iris, like as though they're unfamiliar with the word. They find it hard to spell. They stop and go, what is it? PR what perennial? And I have to like say it slowly to them. Sometimes it's not even obvious to them what two words I'm even saying. They just hear a mouthful of noises unless I kind of say it slowly. If I say, oh yeah, my username is Perennial Iris, they go, what? Like, and then when I write it, right, like sometimes the way it's written, at a glance, your brain doesn't even parse what two words you're seeing. Like you're not sure where it cuts from one word to the other unless I, like, put a dash there. You could capitalize this. You could change it to, like, that, but then that doesn't look very good. In a lot of fonts, it'll end up being like the I and L kind of just blend together. So I don't know. I've also watched people, I give them my username and then they search it as two different words. And then, they find a bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with me, because a perennial iris, well, that's an actual thing, because the iris, the actual flower, irises, they are perennials. So that's kind of the point. That's kind of the point of the name, is that there's like a double entendre where it's partly about the perennial forces of society. It's about the enduring resilience, kind of like features of civilization or whatever. Like there's kind of like a political meaning there. But then also, my name is Iris, and irises are perennials. So I don't know. I thought it was cute. Years ago, I used to use other usernames that had the word perennial in it, but it wasn't usually Perennial Iris. It would be like Perennial Embrace, Perennial Forces. I still had a few accounts called that, and I think this is like a little easier to read. And then changed it to Perennial Iris just earlier this year. I changed it to I don't know why I did that exactly. I guess I just wanted my name to be part of it. And then after having it for a few months, I'm realizing this is kind of just not a very good username for various reasons, right? So it kind of doesn't matter when you're like an anonymous person, like when you're just like my username is just Perennial Iris. Like that doesn't really matter. When you interact with me, it's not important whether my username is like, you just add me once and then I'm there, right? But when you're trying to be in search results and you're trying to be able to tell people what your name is, I want to get people to pay attention to me and have you want your name to be like a memorable, easy to spell, easy to find, and Perennial Iris is really just failing on pretty much every front. So I just used it because I didn't know what else to call myself. I hate naming things. I hate all names. I wish that I could just be I wish we could all just be ID strings, or I could just say, like, you know how Discord used to be, where the names weren't unique. You had an ID string, and then you could just name yourself Iris. So I could just be Iris, and then like not have to worry about like having a unique URL. But whatever. So I've been thinking about this for a while recently, and I'm like, the hell should I call my channel? And I think I'm just going to pull an Orville Redenbacher, which, if you don't know, Oh, how do you spell his name? Oh, I got it right. So this dude, he didn't know what to call his name. Naming the company Chester Hybrids, and then they called it Redbow, and then eventually he hires an advertising agency. He's trying to figure out what the hell do I call this company, and the advice they come back to him with is just call it your name. Just call it your name. Orville Redenbacher. That's like a somewhat unique name. Just call it that. And now we've all heard of Orville Redenbacher. And it's like, yeah, that just seems so obvious. Well, yeah, if your name is Orville Redenbacher, maybe you think that your name sounds stupid. But he needed like an outside source to tell him, like, no, your name actually just... I often think of that little story about how sometimes the most obvious fucking shit in the world is not obvious to you. An advertising consultant said that the product would sell better if it was just called Orville Redenbacher. Oh, okay, there was a little bit more to it. They said Orville Redenbacher's Gourmet Popping Corn. But he kind of we don't really remember this part. I guess their advice was put your name on it. Maybe his name sounded fancy, whatever. The point is, my name is Iris Embury. If I don't know what else to call myself, like, why not just use your name? And a lot of people who do this type of content will typically end up eventually having their name be known to the public anyway. And I don't think I have any real reason to care. I think typically people who try to shield their name, like hide their name from us, it's like if you have like offensive, you say like offensive stuff, okay? So if you go online, if you're normally a relatively normal person, but then when you go online, you go crazy, like the episode of South Park with the dad, what was his name? Kyle's dad, Gerald, where you just like are a crazy fucking offensive troll online.
Hey, I'd like to volunteer to kick you in the vagina. Where do I sign up?
Then you don't want anyone to know your name. You don't want to get doxxed because you don't want to be associated with any of the things you say online. That's not a problem I have at all. I feel like everything I say online is fine. I completely stand by everything I say online, and I'm not worried about that. And then the other thing would be like your career. So if you work for some like company that cares a lot about its image, and then you're going online and saying controversial things, that company might say, hey, what the fuck? We don't want an employee of ours saying, I don't know, like doing anything wrong. So like you have to be then worried about like any little mistake that you make being used against you, and then you losing your job over it. I'm like, yeah, I feel like all the normal reasons that people try to shield their name, it really just doesn't fucking matter. I think the only important info would be where I live, but Ottawa is a pretty big city. Or when I lived in Toronto, I didn't care either. I told everyone online that I lived in Toronto because it's also a big city. Like I don't know. It's just not relevant. I also don't think you can find any info about me if you search my name online. Like, you search Iris Embury. You can't really find anything about me because I just never got into social media. I never used Facebook or Instagram or any of those websites where people typically use their actual name. I just never used them. And then on other websites like Reddit or Discord, where it's a little unusual, people don't usually use their real name. I would usually just have my name be a jumble of nonsense, right? Like I would literally, like I would click new account and just be like, okay, my name is this, and then I would sign in as that. I didn't care. I don't like naming things, right? So I guess that's what I'm declaring, is that I'm gonna be changing all my stuff from this or from this. I'm going to be trying to consolidate the usernames that I use, because you can just change these on most things. Reddit stands out as a site that still doesn't let you change anything. Yeah, we're going to be consolidating on this name instead. So I guess it's better to do it now when I'm still, relatively speaking, a total fucking nobody, than waiting until you have like a bigger thing. Because really, the longer you wait, the more you establish with name A, the higher the cost of transitioning to using name B instead. There was a guy on, what was his name? The Cosmic Skeptic, which is like a humorously stupid name. I would see this every now and then on YouTube, and I was like, holy shit, that name is fucking cringe. He stopped going by that name and then just changed his name to Alex O'Connor, which I assume is just his name. And it's like, oh, okay. And I think a lot of people have done that, where they go by a pseudonym and then eventually they change it to their name. It's like, well, why do I have to go through that? Why don't I just skip to the part where, I'm doing that transition? Also, I don't know anything about this person. I've never actually watched his videos. I just saw him as like recommended, saw the username, and then at some point I figured out that this was the same person and that he changed his name. The fact that he changed his name at some point is the only thing that I know about him. I guess while I'm here, I'm really interested in continuing to make political commentary. I feel like I have a big list, like a to-do list in my head of things that I want to say, things that I want to talk about at some point. And it's really just a matter of time until I actually make all of it. And that's the struggle, is just how much time how much time it consumes. Making these videos is actually so time consuming. That's like the number one thing that I did not understand when I started making them, was like, I kind of understood the process, the like all the different things that go into it, making the images and videos, and I kind of knew a little bit about video editing. I didn't understand how time consuming all this shit would be. That's really the only constraint here. I realized at some point that I needed to not be so high effort, because there were some videos that I worked on way too much, and it was kind of just overdone. There was no real payoff for the amount of work and detail that I put into it. And then I realized this was just a waste of time. I should have just moved on to the next thing. And that's something like artists struggle with. Like if you're a painter or whatever, like what is it called? Like diminishing returns for like how good at you're. What would it be? Like goodness versus effort? Increasing your effort? What would this look like? As effort goes up, goodness. Oh, it'd be like this. Okay, so I was trying to think, like, wait, how would I be? It'd be like a curve like this, right? So it's like there's some point along the way where increasing the effort by this much increases it a lot, but then increasing it by this amount only increases it by this much. There's diminishing returns on, and sometimes my video is like here, and then I'm spending another like 4 days just to make it like, if only marginally better. And that's like a big mistake on my part, is like, just this isn't worth it. But it's kind of like you want to. When you're the person making the videos, you kind of want to do this part, because then it makes you feel like you're like doing a good job, and it makes you like, you want your shit to be perfect. And that's a problem like in every creative field, is people kind of overdoing their stuff. But then once you get to the top there, you find that it's more complicated than that. And actually you don't feel like it's perfect, and then you start finding more and more problems in what you were doing. Let me do this change now. The number one thing that I'm like not very... Wait, what? Where the hell? Oh, here. Then I guess I'll just write my name there too. I think the number one thing that I am dissatisfied with at the moment about my own content is how I sound. And that is that that's a little risque. I think the sound, I don't know, like the echo or the acoustics or something. I don't know the terminology very well of how to describe the way things sound, but it sounds off to me. It sounds really wrong. I think it's like a little too sharp. The lows aren't warm enough or something like that. I have a really low quality microphone. I have there's a lot of background noise in my apartment, and I run a noise remover thing in Audacity, which does work. It does remove all of the noise, but I think it also fucks up my voice a lot. It it removes part of your voice, and then the result, you sound different after the noise removal, right? It's not perfect. Like here, this section right here, this is what my mic actually records, okay? It's really grating, the levels are all weird. You can hear that there's a lot of stuff in the background, and that's kind of just stuff. I can't really do anything about that other than running the noise removal thing. It's just an effect of where I live. And then this is what I edit it to, but that takes editing to accomplish. So I've been, and the reason I sound so different from one video to the next is that I've been learning over time. I've been changing my approach to how I edit it. But and by the way, that's time consuming. That's like one of the reasons that this is also so time consuming, is the hours that I spend learning about audio editing and going through these recordings and trying to figure out how to fix them up. At some point, I would like to just have a microphone that's good enough quality that because I'm pretty sure other people who make content on YouTube, they don't need to do this. They don't need to record themselves and then open it up in Audacity and edit their levels. They just have a really good mic and a good audio setup in their house, so that it basically records good quality stuff the first time without having to mess with it. So I wish that I could do that. That's just going to be a matter of time, I guess. That's just going to be a matter of getting the resources. And there's other stuff that I would like to do as well. I wouldn't mind getting what's that called? Like this, and set it up. He doesn't have the best, and do something like this. This guy doesn't have the best setup, but there's a lot of people who got kind of the struggle with making stuff is that when you're talking, you could just have a blank screen, right? For every single time I upload a video, I could just upload black and just have it be me talking, or I could put in the little effect of what sound I think, who's that guy oh, they're all videos now. Does he always do a recording? This looks like it's just a single picture. So videos like this, you can do videos like this where there's not really anything else. It's just it's just. But I swear he had some. Okay, whatever. But I think he had a light blue, like this, and then it. What are those called? What are audio visualizer? This, he had one of these thingies. So you could do that. This is actually harder to do than you would think, because not a lot of software just does this automatically. The video editing thing that I use doesn't have a audio to bars synthesizer. That's not a thing. But whatever. So it's doable. I could just do it like that. But that's really boring. So people want stuff. People want images and videos on screen. And the thing about that is it's hard. It's hard to come up with a bunch of images and videos and stuff. It's way easier to record yourself just looking at the camera. And then for some reason, watching a person who's talking is good enough for our brains that we're satisfied with that. So then you have, let's see, The Majority Report is a YouTube channel kind of like what I'm talking about. I don't actually know these channels that well. I'm just saying these are examples of other productions. So this guy, are they in the same room? Is it one building, or it kind of looks like it is, because he has the similar panels behind both of them. Be a green screen. It doesn't look like one though. What was that other dude's name? Pondering. There's a few YouTubey guys who have pretty nice setups. Sets up. It would be a much easier way of just kind of filling space in the video when you don't really have anything to show. Doesn't matter. Okay, what am I talking about? Yeah, so I guess point actually, the only point, I don't know, this is pointless. This is like just a stupid meta post. The main point of the video is that I'm changing the name of my channel and also my accounts and everything to just be my first and last name. So, hello there, my name is Iris Embry. Yeah, that's all.